We are going to be talking about, we're calling it the baby mama syndrome, which I'm sure everybody has an idea what that is. It's really a woman, whether out of unfortunate circumstances or choice, having a child and then raising that child without necessarily living or being in a relationship with the father of that child.
Some of the things we are seeing come out of that kind of phenomenon. When we say syndrome, it might sound negative or whatever, but it's a phenomenon. It comes from relationships that lack commitment. As society advances, we are getting a little loose on values, on accountability, on things, on discipline. Family determines 80% of our wellness. You see, it determines 80% of your life. So family makes you or breaks you.
Hello and welcome back to Reality Check. We hope your week is going well. Thank you to our regular subscribers. We love hearing back from you. And to those of you that are new, perhaps you stumbled across this channel, welcome aboard. We have conversations in the area of mental health, and we focus mainly on family, marriages, relationships, parenting, and also the workplace. And so if that's information that you are interested in, you are in the right place. So welcome and consider subscribing. And of course, if you like the content, do give us a thumbs up so that other people can come across this channel the same way you have. My name is Rachel. I'm your host, and I'm joined by Dr. Eva Satwine. She is a therapist by profession, and she does many other things. But today, she's a therapist. She's also a life coach, a parenting coach, and she supports corporate organizations with conversations, especially around mental health and making sure that people show up as their best selves. So that being said, we are going to be talking about, how do I phrase this? We are going to be talking about, we're calling it the baby mama syndrome, which I'm sure everybody has an idea what that is. It's really a woman, whether out of unfortunate circumstances or choice, having a child and then raising that child without necessarily living or being in a relationship with the father of that child. So I've labored to explain it in layman's English, but that's what it is. And so, again, something that we have seen growing in our community and our society. And while we understand that for some people, they find themselves in situations like that, perhaps the father of the children walked away, or there was a divorce, or maybe even death, and the mom ends up finding herself taking care of children by herself. But we're also seeing that there are some women who are choosing to have children outside of a relationship, And so Dr. Evas and I would like to try and understand that syndrome and maybe why it has become very prevalent in our society today, and maybe empower the women who find themselves on this path to raise children, hopefully in a way that will leave them empowered as well. So welcome, Dr. Evas.
Thank you so much, Rachel.
This is a rather sensitive conversation.
Yes, it is.
Like many of the conversations we have here. And we'll try to address it with as much grace as possible. So I think we want to first understand the trend. What was it like, I guess, before we have seen it become more common? Why do we think the baby mama syndrome has become so common in today's society?
Yeah, so maybe let me first speak to the sensitivity of it. You've rightly said that it's sensitive and we have to talk about it, and yes, we have to talk about it. And why we are talking about it is some of the things we are seeing come out of that kind of phenomenon. When we say syndrome, it might sound negative or whatever, but it's a phenomenon. It's something we are seeing. It's on the increase, and so we just have to talk about it. But also the kind of what results out of that kind of phenomenon indeed. So that's why we are talking about it. We are not doing stone throwing again. So just in case we come off that way, forgive us, because we acknowledge that it's a very, very highly sensitive situation that people are going through. Maybe, Rachel, we might assume everyone knows what baby mama phenomenon is, and so there's a lot. This your generation has lots of concepts. So baby mama. Let me just first give it a background. Baby mama actually came from Jamaica.
Oh, okay.
It's a concept that came from Jamaica, which was used by, so it's in the Jamaican language, that was used by men to describe illegitimate children coming from relationships with women that were not their wives. Okay. So that's where it came from. Now, of course, now it's a global village, so we keep picking things from here and there. But why am I talking about it? Listen to the wording in that description: illegitimate. Illegitimate relationships, illegitimate children. So that's so when I was saying that it gives it a negative connotation, actually it comes from relationships that lack commitment. Imagine. Yeah. So at the core of it, by the time people sit to create a child, then there's supposed to be some commitment on the part of the originators of these children, and so so a child, it takes two children to rather two adults to bring up rather to create a child, to make a child, if you wish. And so so just imagine, so I was reading about it, and so I was like, hey, so imagine what men are doing on that side. So they create a child, they make a child with this woman, and then they call it an illegitimate relationship, and an illegitimate child, and illegitimate woman, right? So that's where it comes from. So when you hear the negativity, that's actually what surrounds it. But core is that we are seeing the major characteristic is lack of a relation, of commitment in a relationship that creates that child, right?
Yeah.
Now, what did you ask me?
Why the trend is becoming more common?
Now, so why the trend is becoming more common, and I don't think we need to look very far to see that the trend is becoming more common. And so and again, let's face it. Something being so common doesn't make it great
or okay.
And we'll talk about it. So building on my description or definition, then where is this trend coming from? It's really multifaceted. We're seeing, number one, it's coming from how people perceive relationships now, intimate relationships. You know, during my generation and probably generations before me, the kind of social norms we had, the normative structure of society was guiding on some of these things. If you're going to have children, not that they were not children who came from such.
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, they were there. But as we are saying, the trend is really it's increasing, it's becoming bigger, and probably more acceptable. More acceptable, because I do remember when I was growing up, my cousin, in the whole community, my cousin got pregnant, and the entire community of elders had a meeting, summoned this girl to tell them who made her pregnant. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't acceptable. Like, you have children and you have no man? How?
Yeah.
And they didn't just summon her to tell them. They also punished her. And I do remember, I was little. I was in primary school. I remember it was such a big
deal. Yeah.
deal in the whole community. And I remember my dad was among, of course, the elders. They had this meeting. Then he was telling us the questions they were asking her. And then he used that to warn us who were younger. He said, be careful. If you do that, this is what is going to happen. Now, that kind of structure that promoted morality, that promoted order. If you're going to have children, then they have to have a dad. You have to be married. You have to do this. This has changed.
For sure.
This has changed a great deal. A great deal. And so now, and it's worrying because when I'm not saying they should summon anyone to beat them and give them chiboko and do all manner of things, but let's face it, we as society advances, we are getting a little loose on values, on accountability, like on things, on discipline, things that we thought that were depriving us of the freedom to live any way we want. Because you see, human nature hates discipline. We are not created to desire rules and regulations and all. No, we desire freedom. We actually, our nature is defiant.
Yes.
Yeah, it's defiant. And so that's why you see that all of life is about rules, regulating behavior, regulating our practices, how we live with each other. Now that has loosened up a little bit, not a little bit, probably
a
more,
lot.
A lot. And so social norms are no longer holding us because society has become more integrated and global. And so people no longer value some of those things. They say, oh, you can have a child any way you want, and it is okay. It's your body, it's my life, it is my freedom, it's human rights and all that. So we are now governed by some, God knows whether some global, I don't know what. So social norms. But also, I'll tell you, I think we also now have a challenge with the way generally relationships are perceived. Yeah, I don't need to be committed in a committed relationship to have a child. And so sex is more casual.
That's true.
And how long does it take to make a child, honestly?
Not long.
Like how long? And so it is so casual. I don't need to have given this so much thought. I don't need to overthink it.
Because if he says he doesn't want to be involved, I can take care of the child myself.
That's another issue, by the way, and I was coming to that. But also, sex is more sexual, rather it is more emotionally driven than logically driven. So it is all casual, and because of that casualness, that's why you hear people say accident children, and I hope no one calls their child accident. But to be honest with you, the circumstances under which people are having children, it is casual. Just casual. Yeah. So now, probably less abortion, having children. So that's one of the. But also coming back to the point that I really wanted to have it as a separate point is these movements, the independent woman, who doesn't value a man but can have a child from a man. You know, I can have a child. So there is a lot of, and by the way, it's also linked to how people perceive relationship as an uphill task.
Yeah, the
right?
commitment,
The commitment.
accountability,
So women are looking at, you know, do I have to really manage this man? You see that? I don't want to deal with men, but I'll have my child. I'll have my child. And so there is a lot of, which of course comes from, I can independently just raise my child, so I can really be a baby mama, you know, just have my child and take care of them, whether the dad is there or not. But can I also tell you that there are some women genuinely who have gotten into a relationship with a man and they think it's going to end somewhere, and all of a sudden the man says, I'm out of it. Yeah, I'm out of it. I don't think, and that's, we ran an episode on cohabitation. We are also seeing a lot of baby mama coming out of the whole cohabitation phenomenon, where people just live together. In the process, they are having children, and then the man says, I'm not so sure I want to be in this relationship. I think I deserve better. So women who are really, really heartbroken, and the choice they have is just to be a baby mama. Yeah, they just have to raise children alone. By the way, this baby mama thing is also called solo parenting. Solo parenting. Okay. Yeah, so it is single parenting, but which is out of no other choice. No other choice, because I thought we were building this relationship to be together and all, and after 4 years, you've adjusted as a, or you're conflicting, and this man thinks all they have to do is to start a new relationship, and now wants to be committed in another relationship, and then renders you a baby mama.
So obviously the family structure has evolved.
Oh, it has.
You kind of alluded to that.
Yeah.
Let's talk about how that has evolved, how the family structure has evolved, and maybe how that impacts how we see single parent families, single parent households.
Yes, so the whole family structure has changed, and we have changed it.
Yes, we have.
So we have changed it by some of the things that I've talked about. We've changed it by, I can have so many children, I don't have to be committed. Or, you know, I was, just before we went on air, I was telling you about experiences that were shared during a session with men, and I was telling them about some of the things that have really, really, really caused so much stress to them, and I was telling them about the whole self-infliction, because much of the stress is self-cultivated. So I mentioned something about how men are really dealing with date, and date comes from supporting multiple families. So they told me, and they said, one of them said, I have a friend, he has 4 baby mamas, and one of the baby mamas has 2 children. So just before you get married, right? Before you get married,
your responsibilities through
you already have 5 children from different mothers. How do you think that looks like?
Wow.
You see? Yeah. Then you're going to have children. You're going to have a wife. And then you have to deal with all the dynamics of multiple other mothers with their children. And you have to deal with the dynamics of these innocent children that are born out of God knows what. So then they are all going to put a lot of pressure on you. So what I was saying to the men at that point was, I said to them, I said, come on, my brothers, you are killing yourself. This is like decent suicide,
Yeah.
because you cannot. This is too much pressure on you. You see, you have a home to look after, but you're paying rent for people who have capacity to pay rent for themselves. And now we have the whole apartment phenomenon. Oh, apartment. You see, I rent an apartment for this girl. I rent an apartment for this. I go there. Now, sometimes we are talking about family structure. So this is something that has come up, and it's not right. It is stressful. It is stressful to the man. It is stressful to the women that are hurting, because you don't know how the circumstances for each of the baby mamas, but also the children that are going to struggle, because now we no longer have, well, we still have, but the whole notion of having or the practice of having a marriage, you start, then you have children, then you look after children in this protected environment has been, the space has been opened up. So people are having children any way they want. Now, do you remember the time we had a session on parenting, and I was talking about different types of parents, and I mentioned uninvolved, a category that is called uninvolved parents. Now, this scenario or this phenomenon of baby mamas, now you can never guarantee presence of that, because either they are hiding the children on their baby mamas, or they are overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because you have to be a magician to be able to provide adequate further support
in your marital home, and then also on the side.
Like, who do you think what do you think you're doing?
Superman.
You're not Superman. So you just you are a Superman. So you jump from one family, boom, boom, you go to another one, boom. You cannot do that. So it's unfortunate, because now family is opened up like that we can have. But also for women that I talked about, who think I don't need to be in a family. They call it traditional, but they don't know that actually that you're calling traditional, it is not just traditional, it's actually the ideal. And when God created us and put us in family, if you read scripture, I think it is Psalm 68 verse 8, which says that God put the lonely in families.
Yes.
You see, he put the lonely in families. If I quoted scripture wrong, but that's the scripture. So God knew that if we grew up in that kind of protected family environment, then would be healthy. That's why we have talked about family. Family determines 80% of our wellness. You see, it determines 80% of your life. So family makes you or breaks you. So if you're in a protected environment where two parents are together, now you also remember that I mentioned that this is science, that children's well-being, 80% is also drawn from their parents' relationship. So when parents are together, they are stable, they are happy, then a child is happy and healthy. Now, women who have also now run with the notion that you can have children anyhow, and so you can have a child with Tom, a child with Peter, another child with, as long as you have children, then you're okay. That's where it's coming from. But once again, please note that we are still observing the sensitivity of this conversation. But these are the realities. And I'm very sure, parents or moms who are in this situation, you know what, you can really relate with what I'm talking about. Yeah. It's hard. It's very hard. So it's much easier when children are still young, right? They are young, you're doing their hair, you're providing. They're not asking you anything. Yeah. But as they start growing and they realize, they don't need a lot of motivation to ask you. It's in our nature. They are going to ask, how come? They are going to feel a void of an absentee dad for some reason or another. So then now they start asking, where is daddy? And then by that time, your moms are going to realize that actually raising a child is not just providing food. No.
You need presence.
You need presence.
Yeah.
Maybe I should remind viewers once again that each parent has a unique contribution in the life of a child. And this unique contribution cannot be taken over by another parent. No. So I've, for instance, mentioned, let me remind them, when children have a dad brings certain special elements into the growing up of this child. Number one, they demonstrate leadership. So a child needs to be accountable to a leader in the family. That's why later on, when children have grown, you'll hear a lot of, you're not going to tell me that you're not my dad.
Yeah.
You see, because a child knows that daddy, leadership. Okay? Number two, risk-taking. Moms don't teach children risk-taking. And risk-taking is important. That's why you hear women complain, for instance, that their husbands can't take risks or can't make decisions. It is because it is inherently in our nature, and especially dads, when a dad is in the life of a child, risk-taking, decision-making. These things, all of us can make decisions, but you see a child in an environment where there is daddy and mommy, they know that daddy has an upper hand on certain decisions, right? And a number of other things. What else? So there are certain special things, protection, security. You see, so a child knows that as long as daddy is there, strength and courage, these things, confidence building. Children don't learn confidence from mothers. They learn care. You see, they learn care. They learn to care. Empathy. They learn empathy. They learn humility. They learn all those unique little details from moms. But they don't learn these hard, not software. What is the opposite of software? Hardware stuff. They learn them from dads. Now, when women say, I don't need a man, I can just have my children. First of all, you need a man to make a child. You do. Whether you get wherever you get it from, where it is from a man. So I'm talking about the changing structure. So again, women think I can make a family without a man, and so I can just have children. So that has also led to the increasing trend of baby mamas.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. I know our conversation might center a lot around the women who choose this scenario, or maybe who, through the casualness of their relationships and the way they are thinking about sex, find themselves in a situation like that. It's not that they wanted it, but because of their choices prior to having this child, they find themselves in scenarios like this. What would you say, or rather, as you speak to women like this, the ones who choose this path based on their choices or whatever, what should they realistically expect in terms of challenges and rewards? So the parenting journey. It could help a woman who is out there thinking, if this relationship doesn't work out, as long as I have a child, I'm okay, and I can raise this child by myself. But you've highlighted the role of a father in a relationship and the role of a mom. But it is challenging to raise a child by yourself, and no amount of money is going to make that burden easier. Because when we come into this parenting space, we are offering more than just money. So as you speak to the women who find themselves in situations like this, maybe even those who unfortunately the man walked away, what are they looking at, in terms of the road ahead?
Look, as I mentioned earlier, a person can be a baby mama from whichever source, from whichever circumstance. And there are so many single parents out there who are single parents for whatever reason, or single moms for whatever reason. But what you're asking is, if it's a choice and I go for it, believing this is an easier option to managing relationships. That's what I heard from you. Yes, and that's big. That's big because there's so many women who are saying, I don't need a man. Okay. I don't want that drama. I don't need pain. I don't need. Now, I think I would say to them that sooner or later you realize that actually it's not the easiest route. So for anyone who goes for it, and thinks that, and they've chosen it, that's okay. Yeah. But you have to know what you're getting into. Because raising a child, I told you that, I just mentioned that there is a unique contribution of each parent. That's why in our work as parenting trainers or coaches, if for any reason a child doesn't have either parent, we encourage that you find someone that is going to demonstrate or to fill in for the missing parent. Why? Because of that uniqueness. Now, one of the things I forgot to tell you is that children look to their fathers as sources of authority. And authority is big in life. Now, research in these areas is already showing us that children who grow up with either an absentee or silent dad, absent or silent dad, uninvolved dad, they have challenges with authority, with obeying authority generally. Even in the workplace, you can see them. They don't know how to adhere to guidelines, to listen to their superiors, and all. Now, so when mothers are raising these children and they don't have a sense of authority, please, moms, note that our children, as mothers, don't look to us as centers of authority primarily. They look to us, mothers, as sources of care and love. Right? Yes. So you could have authority, but as they grow, they are looking for a center of authority, which is a dad. Now, as moms raise children, especially when they turn teenagers, and they have not had a place of authority. Now, please note that I mentioned earlier that especially children who are not in legitimate relationships, they are likely to have an absentee dad. Whether the dad is irresponsible, as you want to say, or they are overwhelmed, they always, compared to children in a family normal setting, those children are likely to miss a dad figure. Because in most cases, dads just check on. And you don't raise children by checking on them. Right? So you just have a weekend when you sneak out of your marriage and then go check on it's sneaking out because you cannot communicate, you don't know what. So you're sneaking out. When you sneak out, you go there, you see that most of the time in such circumstances, dads, when they go to these families, they are just doing provision. So you're either bringing food, and in those few hours, you're panicking, you want to go back home. You cannot be a good parent. Now, in such cases, then, children are likely to grow up without an authentic, involved dad. You see? So when the dad is not involved, children can keep going, they are eating sausage and I don't know what, and they are growing
Yeah.
But when they get to a time of character formation, when it comes to character formation, you find that the dad doesn't bring in much. And in most cases, when dad are doing the sneaking that I'm talking about, they are likely to do what we call appeasement. Right? So they appease. They want to make the children happy because they know children have been asking, they are guilty. And so they are just going to get there and try to make children happy, take them for ice cream, do all that. But you're not doing authentic parenting where you're in the life of a child, you understand them, you're seeing certain things that are not doing well, you're calling them or you're punishing them, you're reinforcing their behavior, you're doing all that. You're not doing that. You're just sneaking in and sneaking out, right?
Yep.
Now, that is likely to be very challenging for mothers who raise these children, because then the children are going to grow up skewed because the mom doesn't bring in, rather the child does not experience both parents. Please, I'm aware that there are children that will grow up without both parents for whatever reason, but we are talking about this. So in such a case, a mom needs to know what they are up against,
Yeah.
because it's not just you have survived the drama of men, you don't want to deal with a man, you don't. No, it's actually going to be harder here. And we are seeing that children who are raised in a single parent setting, they are likely to be more rebellious, especially when they don't have a dad figure. Rebellion is like guaranteed.
Guaranteed, yeah.
Almost. Not all of them,
Yeah.
but it is higher amongst these children. Why? Because they didn't grow up seeing a center of authority.
Yeah.
Okay? So you need to do that. Now, secondly, definitely, when moms are doing this, especially when we age, I don't know. I don't know whether, I shouldn't say I don't know. I know. I know that human nature, we never project life. We do not. We don't. We live in the moment, and I mean, the world has really told us to live in the moment.
Present,
But you cannot live in the present. You have to see the future. You have to see the future. So, as I mentioned, as these children are growing up, they are going to go beyond ice cream. They are going to need a lot of reinforcement from both parents. So if you still have an opportunity to be in a relationship where you build the relationship for the sake of these children, it is very important. Rachel, I shouldn't forget to tell you once again that when children grow up in an environment of just a single mom, especially a mom who has said, "Me, I don't need." There is so much that happens. There is so much that, especially boys.
Yeah.
Especially boys. And they are likely also to perceive life a certain way. Yeah, they are likely to see life a certain way. We are seeing a lot of research again where children are asking questions why. They're likely to perceive relationships a certain way, and that is likely to be a trend. Yeah, it's likely to be a trend where children say, like men are bad or women are bad, but they can also perceive the mom as impossible. Yeah, especially boys. But it is very important for us to know that as you're raising these children, you're not just feeding them on food, bread and water, but we are feeding them on how to perceive life. Broadly. So even in this so-called, what you call dramatic experiences, children are learning a lot. They see the relationship dynamics, and definitely you know that relationships teach us.
Yes, they do.
And they help us to grow and be better. I believe your marriage, where you are, Rachel, there's lots you have learned.
Absolutely.
Lots you have learned. You have learned a number of things. You see men a certain way. You also see yourself a certain way. You have discovered yourself because of the partner you have. You have, and so for someone to just choose to be single just because they don't want to deal with a partner. It might give you some relief, temporary relief, and so-called freedom for now. But I don't think on the long term there are so many benefits.
Yeah, absolutely.
You might be signing up for a different kind of stress. You're avoiding this now, but later on in raising children, it's likely to be a totally different kind of stress. And definitely, Rachel, before I leave this, children asking what happened. Because you see, always children ask about what happened to the possibility of the ideal. How come us, we have no dad? What happened? And one of the things I've seen is that mothers later on struggle with what to tell children. Because you can't say, men are weird, then you're raising a boy.
A boy. So are you saying
you see,
I'm weird?
what are you saying? So it gets very, very complicated later on when these mothers who have chosen to be single, to be baby mamas, to avoid being married. And so many, I hear so many are saying, me, I wouldn't. Me, men, me, but then you're raising this. So what kind of men are you raising them to be? So what kind of man are you raising your son to be? What are you going to tell your daughter about men if you have avoided men? You see, if when they are getting married, what are you going to say? You see, what are you going to tell them? You see, so it is, I honestly can't overemphasize the importance of us embracing relationships as they are and knowing that they are complicated. They are complicated. And so we just have to step up higher and deal with relationships. They are a point of growth. They help us to gain mastery on skills like conflict management, problem solving, communication, listening, and all those things, negotiation and all. It's a school.
Yes.
It's a training ground.
Yes, it is.
And so so avoiding it and saying it's going to be very hard because I need to learn, then that doesn't help at all.
I would like us to talk about the mothers in this situation, because we have emphasized parenting as an aspect that they have to deal with on their own and how hard that can be. But for the women who find themselves in situations like this, talk to us about what life becomes like, because you're labeled baby mama. I don't know if anyone holds that title with pride. I could be wrong.
I know, yeah.
There might be someone who, feels like they have achieved something. Again, I don't know. Talk about the psychological impact for women who find themselves in situations like this, even those who say, this is the path I want, because again, you're going against the ideal, you're going against the norm. But then there's also the woman whose husband has walked away and finds themselves as a single mom. What does that do to your mental health as a woman?
You see, by that time, so depending on the circumstances that led you into that situation, it could be, of course, those that lose a husband, death, those are not called baby mamas.
No.
They are not. But you see, these that got into a relationship genuinely and they thought it was going to work and they were willing to put in the work and to grow with this man, and I mean, helplessly, they lose the man. The man makes a decision to walk away for whatever reason. You have to understand the kind of emotional structure that leaves the woman in. We are talking about an emotional structure of rejection. Yeah? Yes. You feel rejected. Rejection has cousins. You get angry, resentful, sad. You don't want to see anyone hang around in your space being called a man, but then at a certain point you need them. So it is very confusing. It is very, very hard. You're dealing with betrayal and all the many things, all the negative emotions you can imagine. Regret. There are some who they say, how did I even offer my body to this person? That they feel angry. So it is very, very, very hard. That's why I encourage people. Sometimes you don't just have to take home remedies for some of these things. Just go get help. Be able to heal from that. I talk to so many people that are going through this, and I tell them, look, this wasn't about you. You could not control the decision your partner had to make. You see?
True.
You couldn't control it. All you had under your control was you. You trusted. You offered trust. You offered love. You were genuine about this relationship, but you could not control the other person's behavior and choices. So if you find yourself in that state, seek your own healing. Now, God offers us second chances all the time. For you having had a child with someone that decided to walk away doesn't mean your life has ended. It hasn't ended. You can still have a good marriage. You see, we had a conversation about blended families. You probably will get someone who will accept you with your child.
That's true.
You see? So you should not put a final mark on yourself and say, the label is I'm a baby mama, I'll go nowhere. No, pick yourself up again. Pick yourself up again and start life afresh. You see? So you don't have to be defined by the person that walked away.
That's true.
You see? And for you to sit back and just recycle pain, recycle anger, every day you're telling people how you feel betrayed and all, you're giving him so much power to even control you even after he has abandoned you. You see? So you don't have to just sit and live in the past. You can regroup. There is what we call regrouping. Regroup yourself. Regroup yourself. Pick yourself up. You're still good. Check what is still great about you, and also know that the person who walked away, they didn't walk away because of you.
They made a choice.
They made a choice. They made a choice. I've always told people that when someone rejects you, it's not entirely about you. They have made a choice. Now, usually it leaves a message of inadequacy, and probably wasn't enough for him and all that. But I want to tell you, we do not have people who are totally full in relationships. It is a place for learning and growing. And so if your partner walked away and left you with a child, it's not about you. They made a choice. They had a choice to sit and learn and grow with you. But they decided to abandon you and go start afresh. So that doesn't mean you're the problem.
You're the problem.
You see? Because you can easily suck that in and think you're the problem. 100%. No, you're not. So pick yourself up. If you need to seek therapy, please do. I do believe you need to seek therapy because these are not situations that you navigate on your own. You probably need someone to speak from a neutral standpoint and help you to understand what could have been going on in your relationship and in the mind of the person that abandoned you. So it's very important for someone to, I think the message is regroup.
Regroup. Yes, I was just going to emphasize
regroup.
that.
But also, I talked about the challenges that come with raising a child alone. If you're intentional, you can actually raise this child and what do we call it? Mitigate or avert. Mitigate, I think, is the right word. Mitigate the dangers that I talked about. You see, for instance, if your child asks you, what happened? Be honest. Don't hide. Tell them, we started a relationship with your dad. I thought it would work out, but it didn't. And when you do that, you're going to free yourself from all the emotions of guilt, shame, and all that are likely to impair you, but also cripple your child because they don't get answers, they get stressed. Or you can actually be intentional about getting other, maybe your male figures in your life that can help your child to learn some of the things they would have learned from their dad. But most importantly, helping children not to be stressed and depressed just because of the dynamics of your relationship. But also, Rachel, when you know that a child deserves a center of authority, you can also position yourself and up your sense of authority,
Yes.
knowing that you're doing this on your own. You know, you're doing this on your own, and so try to mitigate. Please note that every time we are exposed to certain circumstances, we don't necessarily face the adversity of it.
Yeah.
For instance, children who, it doesn't mean that children who are raised by single parents, all of them suffer the things I was talking about. Some of the parents are really intentional.
Yeah.
They are very, very intentional, and they raise great children, and because they knew what they were up against.
That's true.
Yeah.
That's very true. So regroup is definitely
Yep.
the way to go, and that what has happened doesn't have to define your next steps or the future.
Yeah, and you don't have to leave an angry woman.
No, you don't, or bitter or resentful.
You don't
really
have
don't.
to. You
Yeah.
don't have to what do we call it? Enroll
Yes.
amongst the bitter women, because
Yeah.
I hear that a lot of, oh, those are bitter women. You don't have to be bitter. If someone rejected you, you don't have to give them permission to control your feelings again. Yeah.
I want to stir the waters a little bit. It's something we were talking about before we
Sure,
came
sure.
on the air, because there's a category of young women who might be watching this show and are being casual in relationships. So they are seeing John here, and maybe there's a little something going on with James over there and Philip over here. And because there are so many women in Hollywood, on social media, who are wearing this baby mama hat, seemingly with pride. It, again, like we said at the beginning, it has been normalized. It has been accepted as it is okay. Like, what's the worst that could happen, you know? For the woman who is watching, and for me, the way I think about it is they are not empowered. You know, it's like, oh, I can be casual here. I mean, if men are doing it, why can't I? Or why can't the women? Before they make that choice, there's something you talked about earlier about projecting life. I find that there's a category of young girls who getting pregnant might even be considered a tool to enhance a relationship. It might be considered as a strategy to make sure this man stays, even though we have seen so many stories or scenarios where the men don't stay, or if they do, they are considered deadbeat, or all the terms that we call them. So without belaboring my question, what would you say to young girls like that who think getting pregnant might be a strategy in affirming a relationship?
You see, Rachel, we talked here, just remind me of what I said before about relationships being about power dynamics.
Yes, I've heard you talk about that. Yeah.
For any relationship, a healthy relationship, you have to have balanced power dynamics. So if you're going to be happy together, then you have to have an amount of power.
That's true.
Right?
Yeah.
Power to make decisions, power to express yourself, and power to determine the trend of things. So what happens when you make a decision, for instance, to have a child, you have to know that, no, let me first explain it this way. So when I talk about power dynamics, every decision we make, every choice we make in a relationship either gives us power or takes power away from us.
Yeah.
And when you lose power in a relationship, it doesn't just evaporate, it goes to another person. So every time I lose power in a marriage relationship, it goes to my husband. He loses it, I take it.
You take it, yeah.
Right? Yeah. That's why when a woman controls money, for instance, just using the wrong example, the wrongest of examples.
Yeah.
So when like we have had conversations about why women hide money. So when they hide money, they have money. They see their trust fund increase, or they feel powerful. They feel powerful.
Yeah.
Now, when your husband is asking for money and you're intentionally refusing to give it to them, how do you feel? You feel powerful. Yeah. When a man has money and they feel they are stopping their wife from working and they are the ones paying them,
he feels powerful.
He feels powerful. And he says, don't work. I'll pay you. What do you think is happening here? There is always a power exchange in relationships. Let me use another example. When you're dating, and then you're dating and you're saying, we have to, what do they call it? To make our relationship authentic, to make it official. Let's make our relationship official. What do you think you're trying to do? You're trying to preserve power, right? You're trying to preserve power so that you don't run insecure. Okay? So you're saying, let's make it official. Let's go here, let's go here. What at the back of your mind, you're saying, if we make this official, you can't just run away. No. Because I'm securing you. Yeah. And I think you remember when I told you one time that the biggest resource in a relationship is security.
Yes.
So because that's the need, the number one need in a relationship. Now, security. So what are we doing? Because security gives me power. Insecurity takes away power from me. So let me come to your answer. Now, we are dating. You see, this man is about to run away. He's just playing games.
He's
here. He say, I'm going to trap you.
We have a baby.
You're going to have an empty trap. If you're thinking you're going to have this man trapped by you having a child, it's a loss, guaranteed. Because you see, the danger with women, us women, we think we can trap men by our emotions.
Big mistake.
No, that's a very big mistake. Because you think once they have a child, then you're going to say, come and see Jonah. Sorry. Jonah. Your baby misses you. Yeah. And no, you can't. You see, that is emotional. It is. That's emotional. That has never been a healthy way to start a relationship, to start a marriage. And so once you decide to have a child, what have you done? Because before the child came, you were saying, no, we have to first do this, make the relationship official. Yeah. I have to take you to my parents, introduce you, and then we make the relationship. You're trying to secure the relationship. That's why on this show, I said it, I'm going to say it again. Love has to be secured. For love to be healthy, it has to be secured. Yes. You see, that's why we do all this. When I hear people say, what is a ring? Hey, man, this is not a metal. This is covenant. Yes. It is both spiritual and physical. So this is covenant, big. You're doing things in the spiritual realm because somebody's heart is in the spiritual realm. Decisions are made in the spiritual realm. You see, it's not some head activity. It is spirit. And so, once you make a decision to have a child, it's like moving in. Yes. When you move in, you give power to your partner. You lose power, you give it to your partner. That's why when you're negotiating, you're in your space, and this guy sleeps in their space, and you're saying, for me to come in, we have to have done this power. But now you move in. What happens? You have lost, you have topped up his power, and now you're begging. So you move from negotiation to begging, because now you're saying, at least, so you have moved from, look, we have to do this. Now you're saying, at least let's go, at least. So when are we? And it breaks my heart every time I'm supporting girls who are in this situation. They're saying, after he told me we would do the introduction in this year. Now he's saying 2 years later, now he says he has to first do this. Why? Because you surrendered your power to him. So now he can't negotiate. You have given him your power. So it's the same thing as having a child. When you have had a child, what have you done? You've lost power. You need the man, now you're using the baby.
Dear Lord.
Because now you have become vulnerable.
Yeah.
So don't do that if you haven't done it. If you have done it, just know that then you could regroup in another way and we could have more conversation.
Yeah.
But the point I was answering is, please, if you haven't done this, having a child does not make the man to commit.
I don't know where that thing came from. Honestly, sometimes I also fail to see the thinking.
The thinking is emotional.
It's emotional.
The thinking is desperation because it's emotional, to be honest with you, because we think if I do this, he will feel a certain way. He will bond.
Okay.
No. You see, that doesn't, if you're lucky, out of 10 men, you'll be very glad to have one that will be compelled to commit because you have had a child. Right? Because, look, if the relationship is not worked on, if you're having conflicts and you have realized that this person has commitment issues, out of, let me make because I am very careful with statistics.
Yes.
We are talking about men who are not committed. If you have realized your husband or your boyfriend is not committing, don't try to trap them by having a child. And you think that's the only way they have to commit. They will still run because they are not, for whatever reason, they are not yet ready.
It was not in their plan.
They are not yet ready for a serious relationship that requires high level commitment.
They're not ready, and there's nothing you can do. I think you have addressed, I guess, the different categories of, or rather the different facets of this syndrome or this trend. I think I want us to conclude by, I guess, the children that are coming out of scenarios like this, because there might be a woman who is watching and saying, well, I'm already in this situation, again, for whatever reasons. What strategies would you give them to make sure that the children they raise are still, sensible and can hold their own, and maybe even go on to have families of their own, perhaps not repeat the same mistake that was repeated by their parents? And I guess, to wrap up, how they can raise children, because at the end of the day, after the relationship has failed to work, now you have another, I don't want to call it a problem because this is a child you're raising, but you have another challenge before you, which is raising this child in the best way possible. You've talked about not being bitter, not being resentful, regrouping, project your life. Basically, now you have an opportunity to map out your life in a way that, I guess, making the most of an already bad situation.
That's all right. Yeah. So I will not avoid repeating that healing, making a decision to heal, and you intentionally become a healthy parent. Because if you are a struggling parent, if you're still feeding off resentment, anger, frustration, and you hate men, and so you're raising children, it's going to be very hard because you're going to struggle, and children are going to pick the vibration. So it's very important for any lady that is in this state to make a decision to heal. Be okay. Life always shoots us down. We get up. Make a decision to be okay. Because once you are a healthy parent, you're going to have what to give to the children. And vice versa. That's number one. But number two is to acknowledge and not be in denial of why I can do this on myself. What is a man for? Does everyone have a father? Don't do that, because then you're not mapping your challenge, the challenge you're really up. Yes, And so once you map your challenge and say, look, I know that these children, they desire a dad. And by the way, for children to know that there is a dad somewhere, yeah, there's a dad somewhere who is not in their lives. It's always it's comforting for children to know that their dad passed or they were not there, or that is good for their emotional. It hurts them. They feel a desire.
There's closure there.
There's closure. But here, when they know that there is a dad somewhere on some planet Earth who doesn't show up in their lives, and then they are looking at you, they're like, wait a minute, what happened? Be open. You know, don't be in denial. Don't. And there are so many moms who don't want to talk about it. They don't even give children an opportunity to ask.
Yes.
To ask and say what happened. So just make sure that you're not in denial. You need to acknowledge that these children, in their hearts, desire to have a father. That's why they will always ask. So that's why it takes us back to the ideal nature that God had in mind, or a picture of a family that it had to be. So don't be in denial. Thirdly, intentionality. Intentionality. You see, there are so many families where they are dads, but they are not doing their job.
That's true.
You see? So don't leave off just regret. I wish I had. No. Do what you know that children need. You see, if they need authority, if they need to learn leadership, you're going to identify models in society that can actually teach them that, and you be intentional. And you know that if they had a dad, an involved dad, they would have learned this, he would have emulated this, but now he's not present. So be intentional about. That's the regrouping I was talking about. Be intentional. Check with them. Check in with them. Check how they are feeling about not having a dad. Find out how they think a dad would have helped them. And then fill in those gaps.
Yes.
You see? Fill in those gaps. And so let me emphasize it. Identifying models. And having an uncle doesn't mean every uncle is a model to the children, right? So we have to identify healthy models that can really be able to teach our children how they can live and be healthy children. And then definitely, I think maybe I'm repeating myself here, regular check-ins on their emotional state. You know, ensuring that they are not there processing, oh, me, if I had a dad, I would have been this, I would have done that. And then they live desperate, you know, they live desperate. They need validation, but they can't get, for instance, girls, they can't get a dad to validate them, and then they are desperate for any man that is going to validate them. So if a mom is intentional about this, they can link them to healthy uncles. I mean, like I have great brothers that connect with my children, and they are amazing. Even when dad is available, my children know Uncle who. Oh, you know, this is my cheerleader. So it is important when you a single mom, don't condemn yourself to, oh, this now my children have to be this, they have no one to learn from. No, you can still be a good mom. And then definitely, Rachel, ensuring that you put in double effort, because now you're doing everything on your own. So you have to make some decisions about cut here, be present in my children's lives, because I'm the only one. Yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I feel like this has been quite helpful. If I were on the other side of the screen, understanding where this comes from. And I think maybe that's, if you're watching, that's probably what you should dwell on. What is my perception of relationships today? What is my perception of sex? How do I hold myself accountable? Because at the end of the day, it takes two to tango. It takes two people to make a decision for a particular outcome. So how do you hold yourself accountable and hold yourself to a high standard? And I'm saying this to the young ladies who are watching. let your standard be high. Let the men say that girl ye panka or she's too much. But in doing that, you attract the standard that you will hold yourself to, but also you'll avoid certain pitfalls and just ensure that you do things the proper way and the ideal way. There's a reason why it's called ideal, because while there is drama in marriages and in families, it's all part of the dynamic.
There's also growth.
There's growth happening, and evolving. So hold yourself to a high standard and let that standard be the one that guides you, and hold yourself accountable. Thank you, Dr. Ivas, for this conversation. We'll see you again next week. Leave us a comment. Let us know what you have enjoyed about this episode. Give it a thumbs up. And don't forget to subscribe to Reality Check. Until next week, it's bye-bye from us.